Okay, let's take a look at NotebookLM. So to get to Google's NotebookLM, I just go to my menu bar. I type in notebooklm.google.com, or you could search for it in the Google bar. It's going to be one of the top things to come up. I'm going to go ahead and start a new notebook. So I'm going to click over here in the new notebook. It asks me for sources. I can put them in this way. You can see I can upload files from my computer, links, or YouTube videos. Only the transcribed portion of YouTube's are used at this time, so if it's a silent video, you're not going to get anything out of that. Any documents in your drive, or copy and paste text in here. You can also search for sources. That's essentially a Google search, but if you don't have sources and you want to look for some, that's fine. I like to use NotebookLM with sources that I already created myself or that I know are good sources. So certainly can do that. If you want to add sources later, or you had passed that screen like I did, you can always add sources over here on the left. This is where your sources are listed. I'm going to hit Add Sources. I get the same window. I'm going to upload a couple of files. I'll upload from my computer. This is a good place for them. I'm just going to scroll and find. Here's the novel The Outsiders. That's a PDF version of The Outsiders. I'm going to use that. Maybe I'll use the ELA standards as well. I'll just add those at the same time. So it goes ahead and uploads them for me. In the middle section after that's uploaded, you can see it says chat. There's some filtering you can do here. You can type things. This is essentially Gemini, but Gemini using the Gemini brain limited to the sources that you provided over here. For me, it got stuck. I had to refresh, but as soon as I refreshed, everything was here. You can select the sources I want to include. You can see it doing a little work for me, making suggestions here of things I could do, or I could have it do other things. But really, I like the studio portion over here on the right. Audio overview, I can just create a general audio overview by clicking that right now, or I click the pencil. I like the pencil because then I can customize a little bit. Do I want it to be a deep dive, just a brief bite-sized synopsis, a critique? Debate, you choose. You can choose the language you want the audio to come out in. You can see all the language choices I have here. So if you have students that might need a different language, you can go ahead and do that. Choose short or long and have them focus on anything in particular. I'm going to go with short and I'm going to hit generate. It's going to be thinking over here and that's going to take a little while. So we're going to come back to that later. I can do other things though, create an infographic, create a video overview. I think I'm going to try that as well. I'm going to hit the pencil also. Explainer, brief, I'll go with brief. I'll make it in English and I'll let it select the visual style, but if you want it to be more cartoon-like or anything like that, you have some choices here. You can go ahead and I'll just have it pick the best one. And what should it focus on? If I wanted to focus on anything, go ahead and do that, but I'll hit generate. So you can see these thinking over here. While that's going on, you can choose some other things, flashcards, make a quiz. The quiz lives here. It's not going to make you a Google quiz. If you want to make a Google quiz, use Gemini that's built into Google Classroom. The Google Classroom, click on Gemini, you'll see it over there. We can do a different video for that. Slide deck is new, infographic is new, but you can go ahead and try some of these other ones. Let me just click mind map. That usually comes up pretty quickly. So here you can see while the others are still working, the mind map is created. If I click on that, you can see how it kind of made the novel and everything is expandable. So if I were to put this in my Google Classroom, share this with the students through Google Classroom, that's the best way to get it to them. They could go ahead and click on themes and symbols. I didn't even put in anything. It just kind of does this on its own. And here it goes ahead and expands upon that. Maybe if you do want to create anything in the center and chat, you go ahead and you can do that. You can save things as notes. They'll show up over here on the right-hand side as well. If you share this notebook with students, they'll have access to look at everything that you made over here, but they really can't create their own new things unless they were to start their own notebook. And if you do decide you don't want to include a couple of your sources, you can either delete them or you can remove them. The things that are created, though, are created at the time that you made these. There also may be a limit to the number of audio podcasts, audio overviews, or video overviews that you can make. You might be limited to just a few per day, but as long as you pace yourself, I think you get all the things you need to do in. Now, while I was still working on those, I'm going to click on reports. Do I want to create a study guide, a briefing document? You can see what's in here. It'll make some suggestions for me. I'm going to go ahead and hit the pencil next to study guide because I like to customize. Choose my language. You can see I have a bunch of languages to choose from. I'll leave that alone for now. Describe what I want to create. Quiz with an answer key plus glossary. Go ahead and put in a little description, hit generate, and it'll make this for you. Now I did include the New York State standards, so there could be some quiz questions or study based on that. I'll just edit and not include those for the students. Or maybe I don't want to include the standards, just use the book by itself and some of my notes. Whatever you want to put in, it'll use to generate for you. And here the study guide is complete. Let's take a quick look at that. And it went ahead and made a short answer. Again, because the standards are in there, it asks me what is the purpose of the standards. These, I wouldn't include those for my review sheet. And I think it did a pretty bad job of that. If I don't, let me try it again though. This time I'll uncheck the standards. And I'll just do a report on this. Let's just make a study guide on this. While it's doing that, let me make some flashcards just on the book. I didn't hit the pencil. If I would hit the pencil, it shows me a couple of options. Give it a focus, make fewer or more cards. I just picked the default. So here's a comprehensive study guide it generated for the outsiders. Let's take a look. Narrative, overview, themes. I'll go back to Studio. Here's some flashcards. Let's see what that looks like. Identify the narrator and the protagonist. Click on it. Tells me, scroll through. How old is he? What does it stand for? So you can go through and you can see it looks like it made 60 cards. I can't tell it make 10, make 20. I can tell it to make fewer or make more. But I think it's a nice way to kind of review, and I think it'll help the students review material from the book. I wonder what it'll do if I ask it to make slides based on the book. A detailed deck? Yeah, sure, I guess we can do that. Let's make it short, though. Describe. I'll just go with default. So let's see how our notebook is doing over here. It looks like right here, it did make my audio podcast. So I'm going to hit play and see how it sounds. And you see how it has this symbol, interactive mode? I can interact with that podcast. That's pretty neat.
So today, we are looking at a document that I think for most people would be an instant scroll past.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the New York State Next Generation English Language Arts Learning Standards. It's this huge PDF. Looks like pure bureaucracy.
It does, but if you actually dig into it, it's basically an engineering blueprint.
I don't like that one. It's focusing on the New York State standards. So I'm just going to do audio review. I'll do a brief, and we'll generate this one. But I guess while we're waiting, let's look at the interactive feature. It's playing. I can do interactive. I should be able to just join.
Oh, wait. Someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
So you can see it wanted me to join. I can go ahead and ask it I'm going to allow it. I can go ahead and ask it a question. For example, how does it relate to the outsiders? How do these standards relate to the outsiders?
Oh, that's perfect.
That is a fantastic interjection.
Because that's a book entirely about identity.
Okay, let's unpack this and relate it to our topic.
The whole story of The Outsiders is about how people are classified.
Yes, and how those classifications impact their lives.
The main character, Ponyboy, and his friends are the greasers.
And they are...
And you can see how I've kind of influenced the podcast by asking a question. But let's go back to the studio and let's see how everything's going. Here is slides that it created. It's not a slides presentation. I can't edit it in slides. But it created these for me. I can play it here. It's a notebook version of slides. I could also download it. I think it'll download as a PDF. So right, downloads as a PDF. But here, if we make it bigger, we play it. It set up a slideshow for us. Pretty neat walkthrough using slides with me just really putting in the book, and it did it on its own. Completed at this time, and I had reworked a couple of them. For example, I didn't like the ELA standards explained. So I redid it, unchecking the standards, and maybe I don't have to include them next time I upload. I could also remove them and delete them from the notebook. But you can see, even though I unchecked it, their parts still exist. Use the parts you want. So let's see what it looks like with just the outsiders. I'm going to hit play.
That one line, bam, just like that, you're dropped right inside the head of Ponyboy Curtis, the narrator of one of the most powerful stories ever written about growing up. It's a story all about loyalty, who you are, and the lines we all draw between us. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to dive into the world, the characters, and the conflicts at the very heart of S.E. Hinton's classic, The Outsiders. We'll be focusing on how those explosive first 4 chapters set the stage for, well, everything that comes next.
Okay, first things first. You've got to understand that this world is basically split right down the middle. It's a town that's completely defined by a bitter rivalry between 2 groups, the Greasers and the Socks. So our guy, Ponyboy, he's a greaser. And that's not just some label, you know? It's a whole identity.
So I'll include the video as a link in case anyone wants to watch the whole video. You're welcome to see what it generated for us. I can get this out of here by hitting the download button. I'll do that. So it went ahead and downloaded to my computer. I can go put that in Google Drive. I can put it in my Google Classroom and the like. If I come back over here to Studio, you can see some other things. Let me hit the audio podcast only. So let's see what happened with the audio.
This is the brief on The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So, what we have here is a classic coming-of-age novel, and it's all told by a 14-year-old kid.
I'll also put a link to this in case anyone wants to listen to this and see where it happened. But notice here, it didn't make an interactive portion. So I can't raise my hand. I can't interject into this podcast. So I don't have any way of doing that. All right, but hopefully that points you in the right direction, getting started with Notebook. If you're interested in seeing how it would go into Google Classroom, I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom. All right, so here I am back at a Google Classroom. I'll hit one of my classes. I'll go to classwork. I'll go ahead and create something. I can add NotebookLM or gems right here, or I can also do it in the Create button. Maybe I will share a material with them. Review. Outsiders. I can go ahead and give them the whole notebook. I'm not creating a new one from scratch. I'm selecting an existing one. I have to choose from my notebooks. And I'll attach the notebook. It opened the notebook for me. I'm just going to come back a tab. So now I'm back here. I don't need to do the split tab. If I want to add anything else, I can. I like this highlight at the top of class. That is pretty new. And I'll go ahead and maybe I'll put it in a topic. I'll create one really quickly. I'll call it ELA. I'll post it. So here you can see it. You can also see it highlighted at the top of class. So on highlight, that's how I can get rid of that right here. And now this students will have access to this material. They can click on it. They'll have access to my notebook, and they can see all the things in Studio. They can't really change it on me. It's sort of a view only, but anything I put in Studio, they can see. If I wanted to make things not available, I could always hit the 3 dots. I could go ahead and delete certain things if I don't want them to see it. But keep in mind that it'll have to regenerate it, and it'll be different the next time it regenerates. If you do want to share just portions of the notebook with them, things like the video overview or the audio overview, you can download those. So if you download those, you can just post those individually to your Google Classroom. All right, I hope that helps out. We'll talk to you guys again soon.